there for screening, for diagnosis. So more and more funds are being given for that, but still we must do more to be sure that disparity, or those disparities, do not exist.
Ms. Brink.
Senator Harkin puts his finger right on the critical issue about acquainting women, young women, middle-aged women, older women, all women, about the problems of breast cancer. And that really has to be done. Thank you. That concludes our hearing.
Today, a hearing on mammography guidelines. Senate Appropriations and a health subcommittee held a joint hearing in February to hear from breast cancer experts about when and how often women should receive mammograms.
As the chair of the hearing, however, I wish to yield to the ranking member of the Appropriations, Senator Arlen Specter,
on this very important subject of mammography. I chaired the Appropriations Subcommittee, which funded the Department of Health and Human Services in 1997, when a controversy arose as to whether there ought to be mammograms for women between 40 and 49. And in the capacity of chairman of that subcommittee, initiated a series of hearings on the subject and became personally convinced that the mammograms could be helpful. Not necessarily, but possibly so. And if a non-invasive screening process could detect breast cancer at an early age and save lives, and the statistics are just devastating as to how many women die of breast cancer each year, that it ought to be available. And the issue came before the Appropriations Subcommittee because it was a matter of cost. And senators ought not to decide medical questions. We ought to leave that to the experts. But when it comes to the issue of establishing priorities and where expenditures ought to be allocated, then that is the prerogative of the members of Congress, of the House and Senate. And we decided that we could afford it. And that was part of what Senator Harkin and I have done on many of these important medical issues. And Senator Harkin and I have taken the lead on funding for NIH from $12 billion a year to $23 billion a year. We are a rich and powerful country, and we can afford that. And the funding for cancer has increased enormously, including funding for breast cancer. And of the $2.1 trillion which is spent by the United States government each year, none is spent for a better purpose than to try to eradicate breast cancer, prostate cancer, eliminate Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, heart disease. There's nothing more important than health. So I'm pleased that these hearings have been convened. Let's take a fresh look at the matter. There is some potential if someone takes a mammogram and there's a false positive. But my own personal view, after studying the matter in great detail, is that that is of lesser consequence than the availability of screening to detect cancer at an early stage where it can be successfully treated. And I believe that the United States government has the funding to make such mammography available for women 40 to 49.
The purpose here in the United States, the Physicians Data Inquiry Screening and Prevention Board, which, by the way, is an independent group of experts created and funded by the National Cancer Institute, have come up with these observations. They have signaled yellow flashing lights about whether mammograms provide any benefit to women. These findings conflict with other studies showing that mammograms, screening mammograms, can reduce breast cancer deaths by 30%. Then in the atmosphere of these conflicting studies, last week, Secretary Tommy Thompson affirmed the department's traditional position that regular mammograms do benefit women and cited the Prevention Health Task Force. But at that time, Secretary Thompson, a long-standing advocate of women's health, did not give us data. Many other organizations, like the American Cancer Society, also continue to recommend screening mammograms. So today, we want to hold a hearing. This is not a debate. It is a presentation of views in which we hope we can clear the air and clear up what women should do. I understand dissent in the scientific community and difference of opinion about particular studies, but this conflict is exacerbating. Women don't know who to believe or what they should do. My own position is that I'd rather be safe than sorry. But I also have the means to pay for a mammogram. What about women who don't have the ability to pay? What happens if insurance companies decide to stop paying? And in the absence of clarity, I'm concerned that conflicting studies will give women pause rather than pursuing prevention. Regardless of the efficacy of mammograms, right now what we do know is that mammograms is the best tool we now have.
I think what we have to keep in mind here is that we have an epidemic in this country of breast cancer. This is an epidemic by any yardstick of measurement. 1 out of every 9 women will get breast cancer in America. Every 3 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer in this country. Every 13 minutes, a woman dies of breast cancer in this country. That's an epidemic. And I know these are statistics. We throw out these figures and these statistics. But these are real people. These are real people. And the one reason I've been so much involved in this is, I'll be frank to admit it, personal. My only 2 sisters died of breast cancer at quite an early age. They left young families. And had they had early intervention and early screening, I dare say they would have lived a lot longer, be alive today. And now with the controversy coming up on mammograms, one of my nieces now, my sister's kids, she's the daughters, because both their mothers died of breast cancer, I some time ago advised, I don't know, I shouldn't say I advised them, I'm not a doctor, but I counseled with them about getting early mammogram screenings because of perhaps some genetic traces or something like that. And so they started at an early age to have mammograms. And so one of them called me up the other day and said, Uncle Tom, what am I supposed to do now? I said, well, I don't know, we'll get the answers. Just yesterday I had a conference call with a number of doctors and nurses and breast cancer survivors in my state of Iowa, and I think the consensus was clear, Senator Mikulski, as you stated in your statement, that there's no confusion, there's no dissension among any of them, but that mammograms were a very useful tool. It's not the cure-all, not the only thing to do, but combined with self-examination and combined with annual physicals, a mammogram can be the key to early detection. And we all know that early detection and early intervention means that a woman's going to live longer and have a quality of life. I think we are here to shed some light on these studies, to find out from the experts, to give us some guidance and direction, and to reassure the women of this country of what they should do to protect their health and to make sure they get early screening and early intervention.
I am very pleased to present my first official testimony as the director of the National Cancer Institute, and to do so on the important public health issue of mammography, and to provide guidance on both the scientific and clinical dimensions of this problem, and to also make clear why the National Cancer Institute remains committed to its use of mammography as one tool in our fight against breast cancer. I ask that my full written statement be included in the hearing record. I am joined today by Dr. Peter Greenwald, Director of the National Cancer Institute's Division of Cancer Prevention, and by Dr. Barbara Reimer, Director of our Division of Cancer Control and Population Sciences. These 2 individuals have worked tirelessly on this issue and have contributed so much to our understanding of early detection strategies. Along with the millions of women threatened by breast cancer, we at the National Cancer Institute are grateful to you. Grateful not only for your addressing this issue today, but for all the effort you have expended in the past to help make more effective early detection and treatment options available